full country, 4th Century 21, so she's very accomplished real estate professional. As a matter of fact, she started off as a teacher at Southfield High and realized that wasn't going to get her the financial reward she wanted, so she jumped right into that. Became the #1 recruiter in 2012 for Keller Williams. She's just an amazing woman in real estate, but she saw this opportunity with eXp and became, the first female millionaire, made 7 figures in 11 months in which relationship, ran teams. He was just a beast in the business, but he saw this model with eXp. The great things that he's been doing, and both of this couple, they've changed their lives financially, and now they're changing other people's lives in a way that you can't even imagine. Wow. So just to get a chance to know them, hopefully you get a chance to talk with them afterwards, but I'm super excited that they're here and they're going to share with you information that you've never heard. You're going to see something that you've never seen ever before in business and definitely in real estate. So keep an open mind, because this information it's so overwhelming, it will blow your mind for sure. So these are 2 of my great friends, Traci Lewis and Dave Gagnon.
Shout out to all you guys that made this event possible, Tony and Kendra and everybody else that pulled this whole thing together. So we are just so blessed and happy to be here. So to start out, our little disclaimer here, the earnings portrayed here are not necessarily representative of the incomes, if any, that an eXp can or will earn through his or her participation in the eXp Sustainable Revenue Share Plan. These figures should not be considered as guarantees or projection of your actual earnings or profits. Any representation or guarantees of earnings would be misleading. Success with eXp and everything else in life seems to come from how effectively you exercise these qualities. So thanks to our legal team for keeping our publicly traded company out of trouble. So, anyway.
Just a little bit more on me. I got in real estate after getting out of the Army. I became an investor, started buying property. My cousin twisted my arm to get my license. I never bought another property from her after I had my license. Thank you, Vivian. In 06, I was invited to be a team leader for Keller Williams office. Very honored to be invited to that. Found out that it was a struggling market center, what they would call a relaunch opportunity. So I learned that model and grew it to profitability. And then I got invited to do that 6 more times. So I did 7 offices in 7 years. I know that model inside and out. And I was in 7 different markets. So I understand the competition very well because we competed against them. And I got a phone call inviting me to look at eXp Realty, very much like you guys got to come take a look here. And I said I could not be happier with where I am. I am not open-minded to look at something else. And thank you very much. I'm honored for the call, but no thank you. And I invested nothing more than that in the phone call. I was blessed enough that 6 months later I had a second opportunity to take a look at it. And Jason was a little more skilled at convincing me that I should take a look at it, and it turned into a 2.5-hour conversation, and the next day I resigned from being the team leader and came over to eXp, even though eXp was not open in my home state, nor most of the places big of an opportunity. And my #1 supposition was it was truly better for every agent that I would talk to, and so I could not work on a platform that wasn't the best. That was my superpower. I was willing to pick up the phone, I was willing to have the conversation, and I knew that if an agent would listen to me, where I was the best place for them to be. And so now knowing about eXp, I couldn't take another dollar from that company. So I've been here 6.5 years. Like Tony said, agent 123, and I was gonna retire. I mean, if you can make $25,000 a month passive income, that was my goal. Why would I work another day in my life? And I played 27 rounds of golf, and I was done by 9:30 every morning, and everyone I knew was still working. So I either need richer friends or do something with my day. And so I decided that I would work with the people that I had brought over and help them grow and those kind of things. And so stayed connected in the business, and then I had
a teacher just right around the corner in Southfield, and it was quite an experience. I learned a lot of new words and a lot of new combinations of words. I've never put those words together. So. Right. Well, now I'm a professional teacher. I just help real estate agents become financially free, and not only does it pay better, but it's a whole lot more fun, you know. And I can go to the bathroom anytime I want. Yeah, I've been in real estate now for over 20 years, and it's been the greatest blessing in my life. And I was a mega agent for Keller Williams and was Recruiter of the Year globally for them. And really, I thought that profit share was going to set me free. Well, being Recruiter of the Year globally, I never even saw a check for $3,000 a month. A lot of months it was $129, $84. Extra will got, and the less money that I had when at the end of the year. Can anybody relate to that? That's been for a while. Yeah. So one of my early passwords was 30 million, a variation of that. And my thought was, well, I did 24 million, 25 million the year before, the last full-time year that I was with Keller Williams. So if I did 30 million, I would gross $1 million in income. Now that would net me somewhere around $300,000 to $350,000, which in and of itself is pretty pathetic, right? But every time that I typed in that password or looked at that password, my stomach hurt, because all I could think is I'm so emotionally and physically exhausted doing 25 million. I don't know that I have it in me to do anymore. Can anybody relate to that? Yeah. So what I wanted really was $1 million in income, right? And as Dave says, the past 11 months I've made more than $1 million in residual income in the past 11 months alone, and I'm working less. And it's not because I got better, it's because the model is better. So can I get a hallelujah on that?
Yeah. Hallelujah.
We're going to go through this at warp speed. If you have signed in with a, right on there, don't send me anything. With your permission, I'll send you a follow-up email that'll give you this presentation and the slides so that you can go through it at your own pace and some additional videos and things like that. So if there's anybody that doesn't want that, just let us know. Otherwise, we'll send that to you so you can see this at a little slide.
Tony.
So, yeah. So my goal for this presentation is to help two kinds of real estate agents. For those of you guys that are struggling in your career, you're going to get a simple roadmap so that you'll have the opportunities in real estate that you've dreamed of. For successful realtors, I'm going to show you how you can get free from the hamster wheel and leverage your success.
In more leads to make more money, or are you more interested in having time to enjoy the money that you're making?
I like that second one.
Time.
Right? It's always one of those two, and a lot of people say both.
Sure.
So let's start with leads, right? So we have a system that we leverage called Real Estate, and it's, I feel, one of the top, if not the best, at least in the top 3 platforms to allow you to be able to generate more business. And the concept that most agents can't comprehend is when you're buying from Realtor.com or Zillow, you're buying at full retail plus extra pay. It's like buying a concert ticket from a reseller and you're paying $1,000 for a ticket, you get it, it says it's a $125 ticket, right? And so they are buying leads, picking them up, and then selling them, in most cases, to your competition as well as you, and it's whoever gets to it first gets to close it, but they get to sell it 3 times. Wouldn't it make sense, if you're going to buy leads, to buy them at discount wholesale rates, at the same rates that those guys are buying it for? And the reason why agents don't do it is they don't know how to do it. So the system allows you to target and to buy leads at a discounted rate, and you still convert them at the same rate. You're just getting the leads and not competing against your competition and overpay. That makes a bunch of strategies that are available, and we teach them on how to generate leads for free. And so if you have money, you can buy leads. If you don't have money, you have time, you can invest the time to create leads for free. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. So I think that's the first great secret.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about the second secret here?
Me?
You.
Training. When I was a team leader at my former company, I did most of the training. I coordinated all of the training. I did most of it. Most agents had appointment content.
Right.
Wouldn't it be great if you could plug into the training, if it was recorded, get it anytime? So number 1. Number 2, I was the one doing the training out of the manuals that the company provided, and I hit all the bullet points and all the scripts that I was supposed to, because that was my job. Wouldn't it be better to have the training from the people that you admire in the business?
Yes.
If you're doing X number of sales, wouldn't it be better to learn what someone is doing if they're doing 10X?
Right.
And so we have a system called the Ikon program where top producing agents and iconic figures compensation to be part of the company, and part of it is they have to share back at least 1 hour per month helping everybody in the cloud office. So what most of them do is they serve on panels and they share their inner secrets, or they do classes sharing the content that they've held dearly and not shared locally. Why? I was the #1 FSBO expired listing converter in my entire multiple listing service of 800 people.
In what year?
In 1987.
And you were.
No. I was still teaching when I was at the old company, right? And fantastic things, right?
Sure,
However, I would never have taught that class in my office. There were 30 agents. Why did I want them doing the same thing that I was doing? Right? In fact, one guy wanted to know what I was doing. He would always come in. I was always in early in the morning, and he'd come in, sit in the cubicle next to me, trying to hear me. And so I only came in to use the phone to make the long distance calls. I made the other calls from home. There were no cell phones back then, right? So anyway, so having the training, learning from the top in the field is huge.
Big difference.
Number 3.
And then time freedom. So, do y'all know who these two beautiful people are right here?
Yep. Dave and Tracy.
Dave and Tracy. And right there, if you look really close, that's a little shadow here. So, Dave and I live, when I found eXp, I was living in 1,400 square feet in San Antonio, Texas, right? And we now share 5,300 square feet on the 39th floor of Trump Hollywood in one of the most beautiful buildings in Hollywood, Florida. But arguably the most beautiful building in Hollywood, Florida. And every morning we take the elevator down and we walk on the beach for sunrise. So there's always photographers out there, almost every day. Everything from, there's tons of nude photography sessions going on almost every day, yeah. Which is why Dave gets up every morning.
Dave, you didn't tell me that's why you get up early. Why didn't you wake me up, man? I would have known.
You'll never miss another sunrise.
Next time I won't miss a sunrise.
But everything from bridal portraits to family portraits. But there's a lot of amateurs out there, and consistently somebody will come up to us and say, we took a picture of you, can we send it to us? So this was taken of us about 2 or 3 weeks ago, walking along the beautiful beach. And then, so we do sunrise every morning, and then almost every night we watch sunset from the other balcony over the beautiful intercoastal. And it's a magical place, and it's not that we're working any harder. In fact, we're working less than we ever have. It's just the difference in the model. And, so the old story about how, the ancient Zen story about how, well, you know what, I'll tell that story later on. Let me come back to that. So anyway, eXp has given us complete time and freedom. And it's the only revolution
Recognizable in your market and their growth rate. And you look at the eXp's growth rate there, and it's never been seen before in the U.S. economy to have a real estate brokerage grow at that hockey stick kind of rate. And the reason is, and by the way, we have no full-time recruiters, 0. We have no one who works for the company who determines that we're going to come to this area and tell this story. It's 100% driven by people like you who know someone somewhere else, and they put together an event, and then someone like us shows up and helps them tell the story, and people come or they don't come. No one twists arms, no one closes hard, no one does any pressure at all. We share the story, we show the opportunity, and it's created the fastest growth ever seen in the real estate industry.
exciting times, that's for sure. So let me ask you a question. What thing would have to be true 3 years from now for this to be the best decision that you've ever made? And that's an individual question, but I think it's one really worth pondering. And certainly within 3 years, the eXp is that I wanted to be free in 2019, which meant that I had total, complete money and time freedom in 2019, and I actually hit that in 2018. And I joined the company in 2015. So 3 years from the day that I joined the company on, I have never had to think twice about getting out of bed to make money. And how many of you know somebody that had some sort of a tragedy in their life or in their family's life that made it impossible for them to go to work? Yeah, so to know that if something happens, I don't have that financial pressure, but more importantly, in the position that we're in right now, to be able to only spend time with people that we want to spend time with, and only get on airplanes because we want to get on airplanes. That's a it's a huge blessing. So anyway.
You want me to do this one?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I raised 6 kids. I have 4. I raised 6, and we used to go to Blockbuster. We're from New Hampshire, so every impending storm, we went to Blockbuster, and everyone got to pick a movie or 2 or a video game, and then we went home and braced for the storm. And sometimes, power was out, so we didn't watch the movies over the next couple of days, and then we watched movies, or maybe the storm was longer than usual, whatever. And so whatever the movies were supposed to cost, $1 a piece or something like that, there were always late fees. And then, no matter how many times I told the kids to rewind them, they weren't rewound, so we were paying $1.25 to rewind them, and all that kind of stuff. And they were a $6 billion company, and I feel personally responsible for that. But if you were entertaining in your house back when Blockbuster was around, I'm sure you used them, or you knew a lot of people that used them. A movie or 2. Watch it whenever they wanted, no late fees, no rewinding, put them back in the mail whenever they wanted, and magically a couple days later, the next thing on your list would show up. And they went to Blockbuster and they said, you own the industry, we think we have the future, we want to be part of what you're doing, we think it's worth $6 million, we'd like you to acquire us, and we can become part of what you're doing. And Blockbuster said, that'll never work. 6 years later, they were out of business, right? So sometimes things are changing, and in our head, we think that's not how it's going. However, you can look at what's happened with the taxi industry. You can look at what's happened with retail sales, right? Circuit City, I remember someone telling me that no one would ever buy electronics gear on the internet because you want to hear the thumping of the bass and you want to crank that dial. You have to come to the store to get that experience. They're gone.
Think about Victoria's Secret. All the Victoria's Secret's closing. That proves we will buy anything online.
And KW is actually a hybrid of the traditional, which made them very unique back in the day. But when I ran them, I typically had more staff than agents, and in some parts of the country, more tumbleweeds than agents in an office, right? In the old days, we had to go into the office because that's where the book was. So you had to go every week. That's where the fax machine was, because we couldn't fax from our homes. That's where the copy machine was. I couldn't afford a $50,000 copier in my house. And when I was new in the business, I couldn't afford the long distance calls to dial 2 towns over. I would go into the office, I could use the office for free, right? It was a different world. Today we have more technology in our pocket. We can take a photo of the document and send it across the world instead of faxing, right? You have more power in your pocket than the traditional brokerage had 20 years ago. But people are still investing in bricks and mortar thinking that's why you're going to join the office. Every agent at a traditional firm is paying for the bricks and mortar and not value of what they're paying. So why wouldn't you change? And that's one of the leading changes, is not being tied to bricks and mortar.
Absolutely. Would you like to talk about that, a little bit about this explosive growth here?
Absolutely, and click through. I mean, the company started 10 years ago with a handful of people. Glenn brought his team over. Glenn is a master lead generator. He did it for other people at other companies, decided to get his license and create a team and do it for himself, which meant he got to make the money on the sales, not just on the leads. In an old system, decided to go create his own brokerage and did it the traditional way, opened up locations, and then the market crashed in 2009. First thing Glenn said is, we're getting rid of everything that we don't need. Bricks and mortar first. Well, now I got team all over the country, how am I going to support them? And that became the impetus of how do we leverage technology to have the same type of relationship, the same type of support, without trying to get everyone to drive 45 minutes into the office every day, right? And so that was the impetus of the first cloud brokerage, is leveraging technology to create the same experience. I came in 2013, agent 123. We weren't publicly traded. I was told Glenn had a vision to do it. I thought that was pretty cool. We were only open in 18 states. Only one of the states that I had operated in. And that state only had 2 agents after 4 years, so woohoo, what great growth was going on, right? And all of that. And that year I became the director of growth, and by the end
about how, little penny stock, over-the-counter stock, and I thought, well, I'm not getting any stock at all now. I'll take an over-the-counter stock as opposed to no stock, right? Well, in 2018, we uplisted to the NASDAQ. Can I get a hallelujah in there? Yeah. And let me tell you, ain't nobody laughing about our stock prices today. So life is beautiful. Everything that drives our company is our eXp Realty core values: service, sustainability, collaboration, transparency, integrity, innovation, agility, fun, and community. And as somebody that I owned the 4th largest Century 21 office in the United States. Yeah, I know. And the sold it to, of course, was in horrible financial situation about 9 months later, just lost almost everything. And the reason is because there was no ability to be agile. We had 5 locations. Our overhead was $75,000 a month before we took a single penny. So that's the difference between our company, is that when the market shifts, and is there anybody delusional enough to think that we're not going to have another market shift? Right. When the market shifts, we can be agile, and whatever the next piece of technology that comes along, we can be agile and adopt it. And so eXp World, do you want to talk about how cool this place is?
I do. Do you want to show the video first?
Yeah,
do we have the ability to do that?
Hopefully. Let's see if we do.
Today I'd like to give you a 90-second tour of the eXp World. This is our tech outpost. Over here you'll find our agent services and our transaction management team. Behind the transaction management team building, if you work your way around the backside, you'll find our interview area and our human resources department.
Human resources.
Cloud campus lake. Working our way back over to the welcome area.
And if you just want to kill the video, I'll do a voiceover.
Find our executive leadership
or the sound.
It's actually coming through here. Is there a volume button on here? Let's see. Because I've got another video I'd love to be able to show if we can do volume.
Go through the foyer here, you'll find our accounting department. Off to the right here, you'll see our brokerage operations, headed up by Kathy Gordon. And then if you work your way back on over towards the soccer field,
oh, there you
you'll
go.
notice the RE Tech campus. We do have a nice soccer field, lighthouse, a beach, lots of great amenities here. One of my favorites, of course, is the RE Tech campus for industry outreach. We have a conference hall. We even have a computer lab classroom and a lounge for our VIP guests. Making our way back to the welcome area, I just want to invite everybody in. You have meeting room, productivity center, lots of space around and in around the campus for collaboration. Here's the auditorium where I spend a great deal of my time. So there you have it, the eXp World Tour in 90 seconds or less.
Who was in there seeing all the Halloween decorations that we had? Yeah, I know. And Christmas decorations. We decorate for all of the holidays. It's like super fun. I know it sounds hokey, but I'm going to tell you, it's
resolving them and moving on to the next day. And so some people I worked with almost every day in the cloud. So you got your little avatar dude, and my little dude's looking at your dudette, and I got really good, right? Because you can make your head tie into your mouse, and so I'd move my mouse, and I'd be agreeing with you or disagreeing, and I could do a little backflip. I can't do one really, but my avatar does a little backflip. And so, you know, you're just working every. You know, I didn't have to lose that hour to get ready to go to work and to put on the suit and to drive a half hour and then lose it coming back. And so really, I could be more efficient at work and have more time in my life. But the first time we did a live event was a convention that we did in Chicago, and I heard a voice of someone, Gabe, that I collaborated with every single day, and I turned to say hello to my friend, right? We've been working every day for a year, and I turned to say hi to Gabe, and my brain goes, that's not Gabe. My brain is looking for his avatar's face, and he doesn't look anything like his avatar. I was friends with his avatar persona. And you have a little thing about avatars. Would you share that?
So our eXp World, Verbella, we actually own this technology. Yay! Hallelujah. I know, big acquisition for us last year. It is currently being used by some companies you might have heard of, like Amazon, Wharton School of Business, Stanford University, the Department of Defense uses it. Okay, they rent space in our place, so it's a really nice profit center for our company now. But there's something that we don't understand about doing business or being avatars. How many of you have kids that are gamers that enjoy playing video games? Okay, so I don't have children, right? I have a 5-pound Yorkie poo, and trust me, all of you are very glad I don't have children when you see how poorly behaved Shadow is, right? Aren't you glad I don't have twin 3-year-olds? Yeah. So anyway, the reason that kids enjoy playing video games as avatars more than they enjoy sitting across the table playing a board game with somebody else is because when we are avatars, we are inflated versions of ourselves. We see ourselves as our highest and best selves. How many of you will admit to watching Big Bang Theory? Of course, now only in reruns, right? Okay. Right. So when Sheldon plays. So the reason is because we see ourselves as our very best versions, which is why in our office we don't have any inter-office gossip, we don't have any inter-office backbiting, we don't have any cattiness. I mean, not that that goes on in other real estate companies, but I've heard that sometimes that happens. Yeah, it changes because we show up as the best versions of ourselves. And when I really began to understand that research, I understood why we feel so connected to people in the cloud. There's a psychological connection that we make with people because you're seeing them at their best and they're showing up at their best. It's absolutely fascinating. As we talked about, more than 40 hours of live training classes, and I actually have some of those classes we're going to talk about. So this is the schedule back from a couple of weeks ago. I apologize for not updating this. More than 40 hours of live training classes every Sunday, and these are East Coast times. Every Sunday we have Real Estate 101, which is, believe it or not, our highest attended classes. One of my agents is the one that started this class on Sunday, and I thought, ain't nobody going to show up for a class on Sunday. Well, I'm glad I didn't say it out loud, because literally there's more people that attend this class than any other. Monday, Farming for Dollars, Sky Slope Basic Training, X Camp, which is all about leveraging core, brand and empowering yourself with video. Wednesday, World Training, Grow, Build, and Scale with Video, Mentor to Mentor Training, Introduction to eXp Realty, Sky Slope Basic, eXp Agent Orientation, Marketing Center Training. Thursday, Enterprise Training, Introduction to eXp Realty in Espanol, Ikon Agent Award Orientation, Real Estate Content Creators Experience, Math Behind Lead Generation. If you're not making as much money as you want, go attend that class. It'll tell you exactly why you're not making as much money as you want. Of all classes out there, if you're an experienced agent, you need to take that one first. Right. Making It Rain, getting started with RPR Pro, Introduction to eXp Realty, KV Core Q&A, and video for real estate agents. How many of you have been in the business for 20 years or more like I have? Is there a class on there that maybe you could learn something from? Yeah. Yes. At your typical real estate company, is there any training for experienced real estate agents? No. You have to go out and hire your own coach, right? Yeah. And these classes, for the most part, are being taught by people that are still actively selling real estate. When I started my real estate career, my real estate trainer hadn't sold real estate since Reagan was in office. Yeah.
International expansion, like I said, opportunity to really bring the model to others. And when we look at models like in the UK and how they get paid, it is night and day over how real estate transactions are done in the US. However, we are far more competitive in that market than this market, and it will be a game changer. Talk about a revolution.
Listen to you. And Super Dave and I are going to be in Australia this spring, so if you know anybody in Australia, start making your list. Yeah, and you know, every once in a while we talk to an agent that's thinking about coming on board, and they'll say, "Well, are you?"
It is.
Healthcare. This is wrong. Becoming SIM card is wrong. We launched that. Yeah. We launched healthcare last week. So pretty exciting stuff, don't you agree?
Express offers. And so most of you have heard about iBuyer type platforms. We're taking that concept and putting a little spin on it. So we have partnered with companies as well as institutional investors that are looking for real estate. And what they do is they create what's called a buy box, right? If you have a 3-bedroom in Detroit that's X amount of square feet with X amount of baths in this price point, they want to buy it, right? And so imagine, if you will, that you could go into an area where you have some knowledge, look at a buy box, and realize that you have an investor with very deep pockets willing to buy 1 or 10 or 100 units that match that criteria. What if you're the one that can solve that buy box for them? it's business opportunity. Our partnership with them means that if they're flippers, they're going to sell it back through you.
Right.
If they're holders, then they're holding. Does that make sense? So whether you have a buy box or even if there is a buy box opportunity, imagine if you will. So as someone who specialized in expireds and for sale by owners, that was my initial niche in the industry. How much power would I have had if I could have called and said, I can generate an offer to purchase your property? Or what if I have 2 offers to present to you because it fits my buy box? The only thing it's subject to is the appraisal.
Wow.
With willing to be on the market to find the best buyer, right? Think about how this could change people's lives, whether it's in your market or areas that you know people. This is a huge addition for us. Or what if you know someone who's a flipper or someone who wants to buy and hold? They could become part of the network, build their own buy box. If you have properties that meet my criteria, I will buy them. How awesome would it be for you to network with people who have money looking to have property that doesn't come on the MLS? Cutting edge stuff.
And you know, when I was a school teacher and I would go up to strangers and I would meet them, I would say, hi, my name's Traci Lewis, I'm a school teacher. They would go, nice to meet you, and then immediately turn to the next person. Well, now when we tell people I'm in real estate, what do they ask?
How's the market? How's the market?
How's the market? Right. So imagine being able to be in a place like this full of wealthy people and they say, how's the market? And you can immediately launch into, we've got this really fascinating program. So whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, I can help you make money. I mean, it's a game changer, especially if you're networking with affluent people. So.
You want me to talk about enterprise?
Absolutely.
We agree on that money. RevShare works kind of like that, where if I brought Traci into the business, which I didn't, but if I did, and then Traci does a deal, the company takes part of the company money and treats it like it's a referral and kicks me a little referral. So in the last 30 days, I've received something like 672 referral fees. And so I love looking at my enterprise every day, sometimes twice a day. 10 times a day. It also shows me that in the last 30 days, we've had 127 people join my little family at eXp, 300 joined in the last 30 days in your group. And so I love checking it. It's my jam.
And for those of you guys that are still in production, you can actually see exactly how many homes you sold, how close you are to capping, how your team members are doing, what your team members have under contract. So it really is kind of a CEO accounting software in a box, and it's extremely user-friendly. Our founder, our brilliant founder, Glenn Sanford, is no offense, the smartest person I've ever met in my entire life, right? I know. And he's a tech genius. But the biggest thing he understands about technology is us real estate agents, for the most part, are really terrible about it, are really terrible at technology, right? So all the technology is vetted. Can the dumbest real estate agent on earth actually run the technology?
Is that why he asked me to look at it?
That's exactly why. Yeah, because he doesn't want to be inundated. He doesn't want the company inundated with a bunch of questions. So everything is run through to make sure it's super easy to use. So it's the easiest software I've ever seen as well. SkySlope, completely paperless transactions. Do you want to talk about the cool feature in SkySlope?
There's a couple of really cool features. So first of all, in my MLS, dot loop, right? Yep. So everyone uses dot loop in my MLS. And it's like, well, do I have to use SkySlope because I love using dot loop? No, you can use whatever you want. You can still do paper or whatever, right? But when the deal's done, you can either scan it in, make it a PDF, or if it's from dot loop, you make it into a PDF and you email it in the system, and then you just go, these 4 pages are the P&S, and this is the lead paint, and whatever it is, and it goes into the bucket. Or you can use the system, which is easier, right?
Easier than
However, one of the coolest things, this was adopted into the company when I was the director of growth. So there are only 2 platforms in the US that we could have used to serve the entire US. There's a lot of other regional providers. The main reason why we went with SkySlope, not only did it have full integration where we could do forms and DigiSign and all those kind of things, but this system allows you to have a unique email address for your file. Why is that important? Have you ever heard of anyone in the industry getting sued because the client said that you said this or that you didn't say that? and then someone is scrambling to find a text. Now, if you're doing the right thing and you're documenting it properly, how much better off are you as an agent? Picking the right systems with the right features is an important part, and having 25,000 agents in a single brokerage allows us incredible buying power and incredible power in developing features that we get to use. Smaller entities, people who buy franchises and are small buyers, don't get to dictate.
Yes. So, and the cool thing is, of course, your clients have access to this too. So if they need a copy of their deed, or they need a copy of their closing document for their taxes or whatever, they're not calling you asking you, can you email that over? They've got the same email login for 7 years too, so they've got a full record of everything that they've ever done with you. It's absolutely brilliant. So.
Workplace is Facebook for business on steroids. So all the stuff you love about Facebook, minus anything that is crappy with social media. And so we're all interconnected. We're actually, but anything that is important to you, right? So there are language specialists, there are from these areas specialists, there's sports and health and
investment groups.
Yeah. I mean, people who focus on commercial sales or this niche or that niche.
Bible study groups.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So you can go through thousands of groups and say, this is interesting to me, this is interesting to me. And then you're collaborating with people in this kind of environment who have the same work focus that you have, right? So if you take your same social focus with your work focus, you can find how those pair together very uniquely.
Yeah. So like when the hurricanes hit Houston, our Houston agents were able to post, hey, listen, I need a place to stay, or can somebody take my dog, or, you know, my mother is stranded in a different city, can somebody go and check on her? I mean, for disaster management, it gives me chills to think what this company is able to do literally in a heartbeat. It's the only company out there that is exclusively focused on the well-being and the financial growth of the real estate agents, because we don't have an obligation to people that own franchise grow and prosper, and that's what takes care of the stockholders. It's insane. So marketing branding. So I've got a really great personal story on this. When I joined eXp, the marketing and branding stuff, we didn't even have a marketing department. And there was only one listing presentation. It was really terrible. And then over the years, they added a couple more. But I had the opportunity to be part of the launch of one of the provinces in Canada. And I was there with Glenn and with his lady, the first lady of eXp, Debbie. And we were talking about, boy, wouldn't it be great to have a bunch of listing presentations that people could pick and bonus to the best listing presentation presented. Upload your best listing presentations for all of us to be able to use. Winner gets a $5,000 check. So we had 43 listing presentations uploaded in the next week. All of those are still there. We can still add listing presentations. So let's say that you're an agent and you've never done a luxury listing presentation. You can go in and look at a dozen different luxury listing presentations and take a page from this one and a page from this one and a page from this one. Or maybe you're working with investors and you've never worked with investors. Whatever it is. So it's a different level of collaboration, because we all have a vested interest in each other's success. So what Dave talked about before, you know, you're not going to share all your secrets in your own local marketplace, right? So I was a big luxury listing agent. I ran the Fine Homes and Estates division for Century 21 in my area, and was a luxury listing agent of the year for Keller Williams and the luxury office that I was at. So I had a lot of background in there, and I got asked to teach a lot of classes. And I would give kind of the basic stuff, but I couldn't tell everything because they were my direct competition, right? Mm-hmm. Well, with eXp, it's totally different. First of all, we're in classes with people all over the United States and Canada, and now the United Kingdom and Australia. So there's not that fear of competition like you have with your typical real estate company. But because we're publicly traded, I have an vested interest in each other's success. So it changes the whole energy and dynamics, because we all want to help each other win. So the marketing and branding stuff, more stuff is added all the time, because us agents are able to add really great marketing and branding pieces on there too. So cool stuff, right?
Absolutely. We talked about this one a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when I was with Keller Williams, I had KV Core, and I paid $1,000 up front for it and $499 a month, and it was worth every penny. With eXp, we actually get this for free. In my humble opinion, obviously I invested in KV Core. I vetted out all of the other CRM and lead generation systems. I settled on KV Core when I had to pay for it. So to be able to get it for free is a huge blessing. But what KV Core allows us to do is to actually generate leads, including listing leads, for free. Can I get a hallelujah on that, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah. So it's the only system I was able to vet which would allow me to actually generate listing leads above and beyond the typical buyer agent leads. And these leads are exclusive to you. You generate them to yourselves. It's a very powerful system. And we're because you're going to be able to generate leads in price points that you want to work, in areas that you want to work, and with people that you want to work with. So it's a huge game changer for our industry.
You do this one far better than me, so I'm going to put this one back on you.
Thank you, very sweet, I think. So these are the production matters at eXp. So our competitors have said, well, eXp is nothing but a recruiting company. And you know what? They're right. Every company is a recruiting company, right? The reason that Amazon and Microsoft, or the reason that Amazon and Apple and you know, the biggest companies in the world are where they are is because they're able to recruit the best talent. Is that true, or is that true? Yeah. So. However, the difference with our company is that we are recruiting the very best and the very brightest and the most influential real estate agents in the industry because it's a better place for real estate agents to be. It's very simple. The people come to eXp for two reasons. For rookie agents, they come because they're looking for opportunity. They're looking for an opportunity to build their business. They're looking for an opportunity to be a part of something new and growing. They're looking for their chance to make it big in real estate. But for experienced real estate agents, in my humble opinion, world. However, I'm with eXp for this many reasons.
Yep.
Because I'm capable of doing that, right? So production matters at eXp. These are the numbers nationwide. These are all of the real estate companies in the United States that are ranked by Power Broker and Real Estate Trends. So this is against every other real estate company in the United States. Number one by movers and transactions. Number two, movers by volume. Number two, largest independent real estate companies in the United States. We are the second largest real estate company in the United States. Number four by closed transaction size. This is my favorite. How many of you know where we were the year before? Number 41.
Oh, wow.
We went from 41 to 4 in 1 year. Yeah, I can't
Woo.
wait to see next year's numbers. Number five by closed sales volume. Number five by Billionaires Club. Number three by brokerage agent count. Number four by brokerage size. And number six by agent sales. So when our competition says we do nothing but recruit, they're right. We just happen to be recruiting the very best in the industry. So, yeah.
All right, let's talk about how the money works. You know, I always talk about the 5 pillars. This is number 3. How does the money work? The biggest hitters in the industry, and the beautiful thing is everyone has the exact same deal, right? The deal is going to be good enough that it is amazing for everybody. So if someone's newer in the business, our 80-20 split can be very compelling because it's 80-20, no royalty. So it's 80% on the agent's side of the deal. So a $10,000 deal, they're starting with $8,000 on their side of the ledger. When I was a team leader at the old company, it was 70-30, and I always had to say 70-30 and ignore the fact that there was a 6% royalty. Wow. So every time I had an agent who could do math, when they got their first check, they said that I didn't get my 70%. It's like, well, yes, you did, minus the 6%. Well, what's that? Well, that's the other thing, right? It doesn't affect your split, it just affects your money.
Right.
Here, 80-20, very easy, very competitive. But if I'm talking to someone who does $50 million a year, they're like, well, my brokerage gives me 95.5. Yes, plus a 6% royalty, so you're at 89, right? So $500,000, so you're paying $55,000 to that brokerage to have a 95.5. So having a cap of 16,000 means the more I do, the more I get, and the bigger my percentage of net is. Does that make sense? And so everyone gets a customized net once they're a capper. The bigger producers get a bigger net. Now, if you're running a team, if Traci was my
dollars.
Right? And so before, if I was talking to someone who was doing something big, I'd turn them over to someone who could sell them a franchise at the old company. Right? $25,000 for the franchise. And put in the right stuff and get a copier and blah, blah, blah. Here, the total investment, everyone has the same. It's $149. And that includes launching KV Core. It includes your first 1,000 business cards. It includes launching all the tools that it takes to do business. It's an incredible value, and then it's $85 a month, which gives me access to all of those kinds of things. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay? And I had someone today say, well, there's a discount broker in town, and I could pay them only $9,000 cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And so this is just how the numbers work on the give and take, but there's cost and there's value. We'll talk about that on the next slide.
Absolutely. So equity opportunity. So Dave is probably the best person on earth to talk about this. As Tony mentioned, whenever they brought Dave on board, they couldn't pay him what he was worth, so they gave him stock when the stock was 19 cents a share. You may know what the stock is at today? Like
just under
9
10.
and change, yeah,
Just
like
under 10.
9.70 or something like that. Yeah. So was that a pretty good deal for you?
I knew it was a good deal.
So sustainable equity plan. You get more shares when you cap, and then you get shares when an agent that you bring on board sponsors and closes their first transaction. In addition to that, we have the Ikon agent program, which Dave talked about very briefly. You want to tell a little bit about this, and then I got the Tim Macy video.
Absolutely, yeah. So just on the one previous, just real quick, Tracy. So these are all for doing a good job, right? Let's call these awards. I brought someone over 2 years ago who was a top award winner at RE/MAX. He had to pay $95 to actually get his plaque,
Yeah.
and then shipping. So it's like $115 for a plaque.
Yeah.
And he was saying,
A
I
little
just
crappy.
ordered my plaque. It's like, well, now that you need to sell it, how much are you going to get for it? He's like, nothing. And it's like, I got plaques for a lot of stuff. You can't sell them for anything. If you get stock, $400 worth of stock for doing your first deal. No, $200 stock doing your first deal, $400 for stock for capping, and then $400 worth of stock for every productive agent you bring on board with no limit, right? Those are awards. Well, what's it worth? Well, it could go up or down. I don't know. Now it's around $10 a share. I got some at 19 cents. I got some at $19, right? I don't care if it goes up or down. It's worth more than the plaques that I got before. Agent Icon Award, we talked about that a little bit. If someone is doing $10 million or more, or they do 25 to 35 deals a year, they'll probably qualify for the Ikon program. And there are 3 different bonuses. There's a $12,000 bonus, a $2,000 bonus, and another $2,000 bonus. And so Ikon agents can get up to $16,000 of stock back for paying their $16,000 cap.
November of 2015, the stock was trading at 64 cents a share. That $16,000 worth of stock is worth over $200,000 now. So when people say, well, I've got a better deal at my 100% company, my response is always the same, as we say in the great state of Texas, well, bless your heart. Because clearly you can't do math. So I think a lot of times if a top agent doesn't sit down and say yes, it's because we haven't sat down with a sheet of paper or an Excel spreadsheet showing the math. So this is Tim Macy. He is one of our awesome rockstar agents, and he has a lot to say about the Agent Icon program.
Woo! I'm sweating. It's hot. I was gonna skip my workout, but Mitchell and Heidi at my CrossFit box told me I need to get something in, so I got the heavy bag in. I worked 10 rounds on the heavy bag and I'm exhausted. And then, after I'm a sweaty mess, I'm going to get in the shower. I got my email from eXp. What email was that? That email was that I hit Ikon agent. See, I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities right now if you're an agent. There's a lot of different brokerages offering a lot of different stuff, and I love looking at all of them. I think there's a lot of value to be had at, all of your options depending on who you are. But there's one thing that eXp is doing that I really honestly can't see anywhere else, and Kyle Whistle pointed this out to me. It's, every brokerage, the more you make, the more they take. That's just how it goes, right? You sell more, you pay in more transaction fees, you pay in more of a cap, you pay in more of your split, the more you make, the more they take. It's just how the model is. At eXp, I just hit Ikon agent. They're gonna pay me back the full $16,000 that I paid in a cap in company stock. Like, nobody else does that. Nobody pays your cap back simply because you're doing better. The more I make, the better I do in my business. Everything just naturally grows, and I keep making more every year. So, shout out to my man Glenn Sanford for putting this whole thing together and being the mastermind behind founding this company and this new structure and this completely different way of doing things. But I mean, honestly, it's Pon's birthday. You guys know that. If you're on my Facebook, you know it's Pon's birthday. What's up, everybody watching? I got a couple people now. What's up, Dave Calloway? So it's Pon's birthday now, our Disney vacation in 2020, because we want to go back to Disney World for our 10th anniversary in 2020. And to get an email from my company saying, hey, you got an extra $16K going towards your balance sheet, it just, it lifts a little weight off the shoulders, and it just allows me to think a little bigger and do a little more. So Glenn, I don't know if you're watching, but thanks for everything. And all my eXp family, I can see a bunch of you watching. Thank you, because we're all in it together, and we're all building this company together. So thanks, everybody. Have an awesome day. Later.
So we do these presentations at our beautiful Barbie Beach House Playhouse in the Sky in SoFlo. And this past December 30th, so a couple of days ago, our founder, Glenn Sanford, came and did the presentation with us. So we played that video, and Glenn was literally in the audience watching it.
Oh, wow.
So,
Cool.
Yeah. So, okay. So, oops. Where did I go back? Oh, wait. Hit the wrong presentation. Sorry about that.
It's okay, we'll do that one tomorrow.
That's exactly right. Sorry. Let's see here. Recent. There we go. That's it. All right. Sorry about that. So, agent equity program, so do you want to talk about that one?
Sure.
And then I've got my examples of this too.
Okay, so agent equity program is opt-in only, right? So when you join, you are not in the program. You got to click a button, read the disclosure, and say, I want to be in. At any time, you can say, I want to be out. So whether you say you're in or out, 30 days later, you're in or out. And so if you're in, the company will hold back 5% of your commission. So think about like you're paying a royalty to your current brokerage, but the company's just holding it all month long. Pay for the stock, and they sell you stock from the company's treasury at a 20% discount compared to what the public paid for it. And that's yours. If you decide to sell it soon, what's your upside? Right? We hope you're holding it. We hope that you're here and helping us be a better company and helping us have more value, right? And so if you think it's a good deal at $10 and you think it's a better deal at $8, which will be a 20% discount, you should be in the program. If you buy it at $10, I only think it's worth $5, then opt out of the program. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And Traci, back when you were in production, you were in the program a little bit?
Yeah, so again, equity awards disclaimers, okay? What we're going to talk about, this is all historical data. The shares granted under stock equity awards will only be issued after all performance and other vesting requirements have been met under the per the plan. Vesting requirements for the first transaction award, you must be with the company in good standing for a period of 3 years from the date that the company gave you the stock, or company board resolutions acknowledge the achievement and eligibility. Vesting requirements for capping award, capping achievement and eligibility. Vesting requirements for sponsorship award, the sponsoring agent and the agent who joins and ultimately close their first transaction must both remain in good standing with the company for a period of 3 years from the date of the company board resolution acknowledgement, the achievement and eligibility, the joys of being part of a publicly traded company, correct? So, first of all, my success is not typical. Everybody understand that, right? Okay, everybody following along. So, I've taken 5% of my commissions and I bought the stock at a 20% discount. Total shares so far, 6,655 shares. I paid $12,498.91 franchise fee. So instead of paying Gary Keller 6%, I bought the stock at a 5%. Everybody following along with the math so far? Okay, so on October 8th, so about a month ago, the stock was trading at $8.42. It's about $1.50, $1.40 higher than that today, okay? So, but these are based on $8.42 a share. So you do the math, that's $56,035. I paid $12,498, so I'm at $43,536. So when people talk about 100% brokerage, I understand they just can't do $16,000. So if I was a capping agent, which I no longer am, that would have paid my cap for over 2.5 years, okay? So when my rev share hit $500,000 a year, I stopped actively selling real estate. Equity awards, the company has given me 1222 shares of stock. Most of it hasn't vested yet. On October 8th, the stock was trading at $8.42 a share. So the value of the stock over $101,000, okay? So far fully vested, $40,000. I looked at it today, it's about $43,000 that's fully vested as of today. And that's stuff that they was recruiting agents for Century 21 and Keller Williams, and I was closing deals at that company. So anyway, my total cashable stock as of last month, $96,871. Now that won't buy you an S-Class, but it'll buy you the top of the line E-Class, right? It's a good start. Amount I invested, $12,000. So I'm up, last month I was up over $84,000. Can I get a hallelujah on that? Yeah. So again, this is the same thing we showed before. My results are not typical. I'm one of the top income earners in the company. It does definitely show you what you can do with this company. Microscopic part of the story. It's like saying, well, you should join, what's the name of this club? Not Plaza Club.
Skyline.
It's like saying, you should come to the Skyline Club because you can come here and have lunch. Is that the reason you joined the Skyline Club? No, not at all. There's more to the story, right? Okay, revenue share. Yay! And I have a couple of examples of this too that I threw in today.
Okay.
I threw in some slides and didn't tell Dave about it, so I didn't want him to be blindsided.
It's okay. Well, so we're doing the slide rotation exactly opposite of what we usually do. So this is an entire flip of the sandwich.
Surprise!
There is another element of the company. And so oftentimes I'll talk to folks and they'll go like, man, I'm not a recruiter. It's like, that's amazing. Because I am, right? It's like, I just need someone to learn how to become what I call an attractologist. Learn the art or the science of attraction. How do you get someone interested enough to come to a session like this? That's not being a recruiter. Have we tried to recruit anybody?
No.
Nope. We are presenting information, answering questions. At the end, people will either be excited and come and do what we're doing, or they won't. And no one's chasing anybody, right? So could you share something if you found it exciting? That's being an attractologist, and that's how the system works. We pay a referral fee, essentially, right? And so if I introduce Traci and she introduced Tony, Tony closes a deal, Traci's gonna get a referral fee, I'm gonna get a referral fee. Tony still gets his 80-20. 20% goes to the company pays out 50% of what comes in until an agent caps and shares it with 7 layers above the people who brought in Tony, right? Okay. And so the funny thing about this, and these numbers are funny as heck, my first year I made 10,000. And so I told my friends about it. I was pretty excited. Some people said, oh, that's pretty good. Many people said, 10,000. The next year I made 64,000. Some people said, well, that's pretty good. The next year I made 256,000. Everybody said, it's over. All the people have come.
Yeah.
You were lucky because you were one of the first ones. And that was before Traci started making real money. Traci makes more than me in a shorter period of time, right? So it's really value-based.
But he's got a lot more stock, so that proves he's smarter than me.
Just means I was earlier, baby. So enough on that one? So if you want to maximize one person, I get paid on that person. If I get 5 people, I also get paid big money on all the people they bring. If I get 10 people, I get paid on all the people that they bring and they bring. 40 wide unlocks all of it. The money that I'm making now, I have not unlocked all of it. And quite frankly, I don't need the money. What I need is sunrise and to be with my sweetheart on the beach.
That's right. Yeah.
And we stop work every day about 4:30. Happy hour is part of our routine. Sunset is part of our routine. Ending the day in a loving way,
right,
and peaceful, and spending time is important to me, more important than the money. And so I have 25 wide, which means I've only unlocked 6 layers. It means that I have about 600 people in my group that I get a small bonus for instead of a big bonus for. And I choose to not grind myself to a nub because money's not the most important thing. And I could, and there's incentive.
right.
Right? So there's still plenty of upside if I chose to flip my priorities. And I choose not to.
Thank you. Very glad for that. Yeah.
Okay.
And still, this number is probably more, the small percentage is still more than you were making at KW, correct?
So I was at KW 7 years. I recruited 350 people. About 250 of those ended up in my downline over time. And last year I was paid about $30,000. That's after 14 years of the magic working over there. And in that system, the full-time team leaders recruit for the office and the people in the office. And I brought people in about 15 or 17 offices. So I have 15 or 17 full-time team leaders whose only job it is to recruit for the office and my people. And it's at $30,000 after 14 years.
Not a month.
Yeah, $30,000 per year after 14 years. And here it's about $750,000 a year after 6.5 years.
Right, yeah. And the company keeps 50% of the money that comes in and pays out 50%, so it's always adjusted. And that's the way that we know that the company will be in business. At our 10-year anniversary party at, what was the name of that club in Las Vegas? Start with the H. There at the
Happy
MGM
Club,
Grand.
I call that.
Probably wouldn't have been able to get into, you know. But anyway, Glenn got up there and he said, here's to eXp. In fact, let's do a toast. Here's to 10 years and 100 more for eXp Realty, right? Absolutely, yes. 10 years and 100 more. That's right. So anyway, so we talked about this a little bit. Every agent that you bring in, you get up to $2,800, 3.5% of their gross commission. So let me give you an example here. So let's say you recruit a guy named Pat Hayes, which I did. Pat closes a home with you'll automatically get a direct deposit into your bank account for $315. I need to put a little asterisk in there because that's actually now adjusted for, you know, for the sustainable revenue share. So the numbers are not exact. You keep getting paid on all his deals until he caps, and the next year the money rolls in over and over again. So here's how to create passive income. Now again, this is assuming that the full amount was pulled out and the company was net positive, which at this point we're not, so the numbers are a little lower right now. But if you refer 6 capping agents who each refer 1, and let's say the first year you bring in 6 capping agents, that's going to make you $16,800, which is more than your cap, right? It works like that. 5 of them don't get any, and then you get one like Tony Camilleri that gets a whole bunch. But anyway, that's going to give you $36,000 a year in residual income. Now I know $36,000 a year is not a lot of money, but in
Yes, it is.
well,
Residual.
in residual. And in San Antonio, where I'm from, that will pay for the most expensive private education in the city of San Antonio. The most expensive private school is about $25,000 a year. So for most families, that's the difference between your kids going to public school and private school. Is that pretty true around here too?
Yep.
Can you get into a good private school for $36,000 a year?
Yep.
So in the next 5 years, attracting 10 agents to the company, and then you help each of them get 10. That's going to give you $348,000 a year, about adjusted. I mean, the numbers can be up or down from that because the company, again, has to stay profitable. So there's a 50-50 split there. But is that enough to live on in the Southfield area?
Yeah.
If you had to?
If you had to.
Yeah. Not too shabby. In 2004, Mark Zuckerberg invited 5 people to his Harvard dorm room to discuss a business opportunity. Only 2 showed up and said yes. Dustin Moskovitz is worth $6.5 billion, and Walter Severin $3.4 billion. What a lesson for those other 3 that didn't show up, and all the rest of us. Nothing is more expensive than closing.
So congratulations to you guys for showing up,
Yep.
right? Because there were other people that were divided that did not. So we will be here answering questions. If there's anything that we did not cover or something that we did cover that sparked curiosity, we'll answer all the questions to the best of our abilities. Thank you so much for coming, and connect back with the person who invited you here.
Thank you again so much.
Thank you.